We'll play the Fierce Empath, leaving red floating, and we'll breach out an Emrakul. Yes, we want to use this. Emrakul the Aeons Torn through the breach. I mean, we're about to search for an amulet. Actually, we can get Pithing Needle on Cookbook from our saga. That does not seem bad. Especially since we have another saga anyways. I think that's what I want to do. And they didn't even activate in response, so we'll just name Cookbook here. Hello and welcome, everybody. We are here for round 4 with Breach Amulet. We are through the breaching something into play, be it a Primeval Titan or an Emrakul the Aeons Torn, and we're going to do it in style here. We are trying to battle for this 3-in-1, and if you haven't seen any of the previous videos in this particular league, particularly match 1, where I go in depth about the choices made in this deck and the reason why we're playing the card choices that we are, including things that might confuse you, like the one of Teetering Peaks, for example. Everything that you need to know is explained in match 1 right before the start in the deck tech. Go check it out if you haven't seen it, and yeah, I'm excited to jump straight into this match. Alrighty, let's hop in here for the match. On the draw. Sad. Playing against Falcon Eye. Can't say that I'm super familiar with that name in particular, but it is a cool name. Opponent really tanking on whether they want to be on the play or the draw here. And we have a turn 2 Explore hand. We don't really have much else going on. We don't have a bounce land, so even if we drew an amulet, it wouldn't be doing a whole lot. But we do have Breach and Summoner's Pact. I feel like it's a little loose, but we have a bunch of untapped sources too. So I think I'm willing to try this out. If we're playing against an aggressive deck, then turn 1 Radiant Fountain will be good. Playing against Dark Slick Shore's Underworld Cookbook. Okay. So we might be in some trouble here if they have the Asmor. I definitely believe that's what's going on. We'll go ahead and play this tapped Stomping Ground out and pass. Maybe our opponent will put us on Titan Shift. A Cyclist Street Wraith, of course. See if they have Asmor here. They could have just pitched to Cookbook to do that, but anyways, there's the Asmor. Of course, they get a second Cookbook. I guess they're going to be able to make 2 food here by playing land Cookbook. Yeah, so this could be quite difficult. I suppose if we were able to breach out an Emrakul, then we might still have a chance, as Asmo doesn't really deal with Emrakul at all. I do think we're supposed to just go ahead and explore here, so that's what we'll do. Our opponent's just doing whatever they want over there. We'll play out the Saga in the hopes that we can find a bounce land to go along with the amulet the Saga represents, and we'll see what happens from there. It might be right to try to pact for Fierce Empath here, as I think our best out to what our opponent's doing is just breaching out an Emrakul, so it's definitely something to consider. There's our bounce land. Huh. So we play Dryad, play land. Next turn, we'll have 5, 6, 7, which is 1 short. Interesting. If we pact for the 3-drop now, play land, then we tap out, get an amulet. Nah, there's no real way we can breach this upcoming turn unless we draw another amulet, or like, I guess an Azusa or a Grazer or something. So we probably are supposed to just play out the Dryad. I think that's going to be the best we can do. We'll play Misty Rainforest, or I guess maybe even Telaria West into Radiant Fountain here. We want to play the one without the trigger first, so they can't just make some foods and kill Dryad in response. Is there a possibility we're transmuting Telaria West? I'm not seeing it being super likely, so I'm just going to go ahead and play it out. I guess I think we just don't need to worry about transmuting Telaria West this game, so we'll do that, and I guess we'll play the Radiant Fountain. Might as well. If we can manage to get a Valcut in play and our opponent doesn't want to food away our Dryad, then we can get some triggers with the Misty Rainforest. Something to note. Maybe I miscounted. 7, 8, 9. No, actually, so if our opponent leaves our Dryad in play, then we can breach out an Emrakul by packing for the Fierce Empath. So that might be the plan here. Our opponent's got constructs galore. They might be even bigger than 4/4s when they make some food here, so They get to search for the Saga as well for a third cookbook. So definitely Emrakul is the way that we're going to try to stay in this game. Trying to fight through triple cookbook. Oh, they have Aether Spellbomb. Ugh. Return target creature to its owner's hand for a blue. They don't currently have the mana up for that. So, I mean, I think we just block the Asmor here. Take as little damage as possible. Don't play land. Do not play land, opponent. No blue lands for you. Oh, they have Darkslick. Oh, they played Emry. Okay. So, Emrakul might be good enough here. It depends on if they just kill our Dryad right now. If not, we'll go immediately for floating the mana. We only need 8 to do the breach thing, so if we play fetch land and then Gruul Turf, then our opponent can't, like, respond. They might kill our Dryad here. Let's float a green, I guess. They might kill our Dryad here with this trigger on the stack, but if they don't, then we have automatic breach plus Emrakul mana. Yeah, so let's just do the thing where we breach Emrakul them, huh? I wonder what they keep. Don't know if it really matters. Let's play out the Growth Chamber so we can pick up a land and be able to transmute Tolari West after this. We'll yield to the amulets. Okay, we'll float a red for sure with this. And this one doesn't matter. I'll just float a second red. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we can do the Breach plus Emrakul thing. So, seems good, seems good. I think we just pick up the Radiant Fountain here. We'll Pact. Get Fierce Empath, if I can manage to click it correctly. We'll play the Fierce Empath, leaving red floating, and we'll breach out an Emrakul. Yes, we want to use this. Emrakul the Aeons Torn through the breach. Should have killed the Dryad while you had the chance, I guess, opponent. Emrakul into play. Right, go to combat. So now we have to decide if we're attacking with the Dryad also. So they could sacrifice the 3 lands, Asmor, Spellbomb, that would be 5, the Emry 6, and keep 4 artifacts and play easily to kill the Dryad. So I don't think we want to attack with the Dryad here. They could make 2 foods with the cookbook, and then sacrifice 2 foods and some other things. Yeah, I think we're not supposed to attack with the Dryad, so I'll just swing with the Emrakul. Annihilator 6, yeah. And now transmuting for Valakut could very well be lethal. They pitch the Scalding Tarn. No, they pitch Oval Chase, No, they pitched the Scalding Tarn, but they had Daredevil in the yard, thanks to Emry. Okay. Well, they can make some free foods to kind of get out of this a little bit, but... I mean, they can't block the 15 damage. So they are sacking the foods, as suggested. They sack the Asmor. Interesting. I guess they must have another one in hand. Okay. Yep, and we definitely would have lost our Dryad had we attacked with it, so good not to attack there. We do have to pay for a pack this upcoming turn. We might be able to kill them with Valakut by transmuting the Tolari West for it. No, I don't think so, because they're going down to... No, yeah, we might. They're at exactly 3. Yeah, we might be able to just kill them with Valakut this upcoming turn, so that's cool. We get to shuffle everything back in, too, of course. Very interesting. I feel like I should be more excited about this this first time we've been able to actually do the Emrakul Breach thing. But I'm still not sure if we're actually going to win this game. We'll have to try to find out. Definitely not blocking with the Dryad. I don't think they... I guess if they played Emry... Not Emry. If they played Asmor, got a second cookbook, played the cookbook... Oh, they spellbombed the Dryad. Okay. That might stop us from having lethal unless we top deck exactly Valakut. This still is looking pretty good for us, though. They get back a cookbook. But no Asmor means that this Dryad will kill them eventually. I think we might as well chump a construct. I don't really see a reason not to. We'll take our 6. Down to 8. We've got to pay for our Summoner's Pack, so I guess we'll pay with these. Interesting to note, actually, that we don't have a blue source, potentially, to transmute, because we don't have Breeding Pool. I don't know if that makes a huge difference, but Alright. We'll just have to transmute for Valcut and kill them next turn, I guess. Grazer's actually not a bad pickup here. We can actually play Grazer off of this Radiant Fountain as well if we want to. Let's see. We have 3 mana, Grazer in up to 4 mana, play Dryad, leave 1 floating, bounce land, pick up Tolario. We still couldn't transmute because we wouldn't have enough blue, so it doesn't really make sense to try to go transmuting here, I don't think. I guess we could pick up the Simic Growth Chamber, and then we could transmute. And have both Grazer and Dryad in play, but we wouldn't be able to gain the life, which is kind of annoying. And also, we wouldn't have any alternative if our Dryad dies, so I think it's probably correct not to go for the transmute this turn. We probably do want to play the Grazer regardless, though. Guess we can use the fetch land to do that. It doesn't really matter. I am going to throw out the Grazer as a blocker here, but... Yep. Nope. Pass it back. Let's see if our opponent can get out of this. They have to have second Asmor. And even then, we probably still get to Titan them. At 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we have exactly enough mana to get a Titan and put it into play and haste it. So, if they Asmor and kill off a Dryad, I guess they could have Asmor and be able to double activate. So, we might actually still just be in bad shape here. Shame we didn't shuffle our Fierce Empath back in, huh? I guess that would be a little too late for that, though. Well, I guess if we top deck exactly through the Breach and transmute it for Summoner's Pact and could get Fierce Empath, we could breach it in Emrakul again. Neither here nor there. Yeah, I think their only out here is to have Asmor in hand. Or I guess they could have multiple artifacts to put into play here, so we have to block with the... There's the Asmor. Okay, well now I don't think that we can actually win. Unfortunately. There's a cookbook. Okay. I mean, yeah, we actually do have to block both or we're just dead, right? Yeah, I don't really see a way that we can win this. Since their Asmor's just going to kill our Titan. I mean, we can't not block like this, though, because they can just make 2 foods and kill us with lethal constructs. So, I mean, this is our only option. Man, we breached an Emrakul and we still can't win the game. Asmor too good. Alright, we'll draw. Teetering Peaks. Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't actually think there's anything we can transmute for. We don't have a mainboard explosives to put on 0. Which may not even help us that much, to be honest. Let me go check the deck list real quick. I don't think there's anything that we can meaningfully pack for here either. I am pretty sure we're just dead. Yeah. Alright, well, we'll get games 2 and 3, no big deal. Our opponent survived at 3 life. We want our explosives for 0, obviously. I don't mind things like Force and Foundation Breaker, but I don't think they're the super strongest. Pithing Needle naming Asmor is very good. Dismember also as well. I'm not sure that Force and Foundation Breaker make a lot of sense because a lot of their artifacts, other than the Cookbook, don't do anything. And once they put Cookbook into play, they're already making at least 1 food. And the food is really what we care about, not the Cookbook. And just forcing some food could be completely irrelevant. So I don't really necessarily want to have that one. We want Bog for Imri, of course. And I don't think we want Pact Negation here. It could be wrong. Because we could potentially Pact Negation like an Urza. Or if they have a Metallic Rebuke, but I'm not really interested in playing around that, I don't think. I think Grazer's alright here, but not fantastic. You can trim 1 Summoner's Pact, I think. The Radiant Fountain is pretty unimpactful. Cavern could be quite good, though. And I think Through the Breach is probably pretty decent here, too. allowing us to kill with a Titan without having to get a haste land. Lets us immediately set up a Valakut if we really want to. I don't know. Through the Breach, it may not be the best here, though. I mean, obviously we can breach Emrakul, but they have a lot of random permanents that they can sacrifice to the Emrakul Annihilator trigger. And it also kills off our Titan, so I think maybe we're supposed to go without the breach Emrakul thing. From the Empath. We can still breach out a Titan, though, so I think maybe Teetering Peaks is alright. But otherwise, these cards can be kind of dead, so... maybe just an Explorer? You'll have to forgive me, because I'm not super well-versed in this deck. I'm not sure exactly how to sideboard correctly. I guess an Explorer is fine. We need to be a little fast so that we can try to outpace what they're doing before they just get a bunch of foods and Asmor in play. Alright, we'll play first. Basically, I would expect this match to revolve around Asmor and almost nothing else, but... I mean, clearly when we have Explosives and Dismember to deal with Asmor, that's pretty good. Because if they can't interact with our creatures, then they're just going to lose them anyways. We can even use the Dismember for Asmor and Explosives for tokens later from their Saga, so I think we keep this. The question is, do we Saga on one or do we Forest? I think we're going to want a bounce land, like, to be able to get an Amulet along with a bounce land or something like that earlier rather than later. I don't think the tokens matter as much in this particular matchup, especially since we're likely to wipe the field of zeros, so I think we just lead on Saga here. And pass. We can still play a turn 2 Explorer if we draw it, thanks to this Forest. Our opponent starts with Cycle Street Wraith, play Asmo. 5. We want to, at the end of their turn, dismember this guy. Girl? Probably a girl. I apologize, that name is not necessarily a typical male or female name. Alright, there's an Amulet. So a second Amulet off of this Saga could do some interesting things. Unfortunately, we don't really have the threats to back it up, but that's okay. We'll play out just the Forest here, I guess. Save this Cavern until we know what we want to name with it for sure. They play the Cookbook that they searched for. Play second Cookbook, okay. We could just Explosives on one. I mean, we're about to search for an Amulet, though. Actually, we can get Pithing Needle on Cookbook from our Saga. That does not seem bad. Especially since we have another Saga anyways. I think that's what I want to do. And they didn't even activate in response, so we'll just name Cookbook here. The Underworld Cookbook. And I guess we just play Saga and Azusa, and yeah. So far, we seem to be doing pretty well, and if they have another Asmor, we even have Explosives to cover that, so we'll play the Cavern naming Giant, I guess. Just because we want to get our land drops out, I suppose. And we'll pass it back. We're going to make a couple constructs. And just, I guess, settle in for a little bit of a longer game here, huh? Our opponent has basics and red. Feels a little bit like Blood Moon, but Ashiok, okay. That doesn't really bother me too much at the present. It's going to stop us from searching with the Saga, but other than that... Alright, well, we'll just go to combat. Swing at the Ashiok, pass it back. Activate Saga on their Incept to make a dude. Emery. We could dismember that if we want to. Depends on what they see in their graveyard, right? Mishra's Bauble. Emery plus Bauble might be problematic enough that we want to dismember. But I guess we don't want to do it now. We don't really want to do it now because getting these two constructs to clock Ashiok is far more important than killing this Emery that's going to get them some incremental advantage or whatever. And now we have a land as well to play the dismember, so let's make another construct. We'll sack the Saga and get nothing thanks to Ashiok. We'll play Vesuva, copying Basic Forest, which also helps us play around Blood Moon inadvertently. We'll kill this Emery and then kill this Ashiok, and life will be good. We could be playing into Fatal Push here, so I think we still want to send the Azusa and the Construct both at Ashiok in case they push the Construct. That way we'll still get a little bit of a clock on this annoying thing. We'll send everything at Ashiok, pass it back. Our opponent wisely not minusing their Ashiok as well here. Good move by them. Okay. The Needle on Cookbook seems to have been pretty effective so far. They play Hard-Casted Oval Chase Daredevil. Okay. Well, I mean, I think we can just go ahead and play Explosives on 0 to bump our constructs so they can't get traded with by this Oval Chase Daredevil and, you know, swing all out. I guess we don't want to swing with the Azusa, perhaps. Sure. And we can pop explosives on 0 if they give us a reason to. Although, to be honest, if they can't activate Cookbook, I don't really know what Asmor is really doing for them. I don't think they have another way to make food, so far, Disruption has shown to be quite powerful here. And they concede. Well, that works for game 2, I guess. No Titans or Emrakuls or Dryads or any nonsense required. I actually kind of like the idea of Tracker in this matchup. It also makes our constructs insane. I still don't necessarily think we need Force and Foundation Breaker. Maybe these breaches just aren't good. Since we're trying to play a longer game, we don't really need to combo out. So I'm going to bring in a couple trackers and maybe one Force. Could get punished for the Force, but they could also have something like Damping Sphere or Blood Moon or whatever. In fact, I guess because we kind of presume they might be playing Blood Moon over there, we probably want a second Force, just in case. And I definitely don't think we need Grazer here. We can still pack for Azusa if we need to, but... Alright, we'll run it this way. That was weird. Maybe games don't usually play out that way. I don't know. They definitely got by Pithing Needle, I think. This hand is not disruptive, and it's not fast, which means it's a mulligan. This hand has Amulet. That's about it. We can transmute Tolarios for explosives. Yeah, I think we can keep it. I guess we just bottom the Teetering Peaks here. That makes sense to me. We could also just bottom the Garrison. Garrison represents Titan mana, though. Especially if we have to put a bounce lane into play to pick up Tolari West. So I think this is fine. See what they lead on. Street Wraith, land Asmor. Every single game, huh? You never know, never know. I mean, that is why they play Street Wraith. The fact they cycled the second one makes me think that they were looking for Asmor but didn't find it. Explore is a very good one to pick up here. We can play Growth Chamber, explore, play Growth Chamber, use the 3 mana to transmute, and pick up the Forest this upcoming turn instead of trying to make a bunch of land drop progress. Doesn't seem that bad. 4 Street Wraiths, huh? All 4. And with them having Asmo, we probably do need to get this Explosives. Interesting. I guess getting it a little prematurely would expose us to like a discard type effect, like Thoughtseize or Inquisition. We could just go ahead and play it on 0 and hope they don't have a way to blow it up. They went through a lot of Street Wraiths to find this Asmor, so I kind of feel like it's probably worth it to try to get the Explosives online and in play. Alternatively, I mean, admittedly, I don't think there is any alternative, because whatever we would be Summoners packing for by making land drop progress will just get killed by the Asmor, so I think it's probably best to just do the line that I was describing before. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did this. Oh no! I don't know how that happened. I thought I clicked on the right one. Well, that's rather special. I guess we're making land drop progress now. Otherwise, we're just completely wasting everything, so... We'll explore, I suppose. Play the Tolari West, I suppose. And I guess next turn we can play Garrison and transmute for Explosives and cast it and blow it up all in the same turn. This way we get to sweep up a food as well, so maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe it ends up being better for us. That was bad. That's been happening more and more recently, and I don't know why. I used to never accidentally click them in the wrong order. I think this is like the second time I've ever done it. Especially on the channel, but just in general. Thoughtseize. Well, I guess we would have played out the Explosives anyways on 0 to play around the Thoughtseize. So I guess it's really not the end of the world. That wouldn't have changed our play terribly much. But now we can't play it on 0 and blow it up and hit the food also. Would they discard to the Cookbook? Probably a Daredevil, I would think. Yeah, Oval Chase Daredevil. Okay, well, we'll draw. Rule Turf. I guess that one's a better one to get into play than Garrison, so that way we can play Castle Garenbrig and Titan. Sure. Alright, bounce land first this time. I guess we want to leave the Gruul Turf untapped in case we want to activate explosives during their turn. We are going to go ahead and play it, obviously, to play around those Thoughtseize type effects that our opponent just showed us. And I do think we just need to prioritize getting Asmor off the board rather than trying to get like a Summoner's Pact and set up Titan, because the Titan doesn't really do anything for us when they can just kill it with the foods. So deal with Asmor, then, move on from there. They make a food, okay. Daredevil, okay. I mean, that's just going to get swept up by explosives anyway, so. Oh, they got Metallic Rebuke. Okay, well, I guess at least they didn't counter something more relevant. Nah, just kidding. The explosives was kind of our whole plan here, so. I mean, we couldn't hold on to it because they could have another Thoughtseize, so. Okay, well, we still have Dismembers we can top deck. Amulet, okay. We'll play the castle, I suppose, and we'll play Amulet and pass. Well, now our Titan can get... Well, no. I was going to say it can set up a Tolaria Transmute and play Dryad, since we get the double untaps. But, we wouldn't have Valakut to go along with that. So, and our opponent's about to get to, they have already gotten to a 4th food, so things are looking not great for us this game. I think the Asmor has us locked out, sadly. We needed this Explosives to resolve. Stronghold. Doesn't help that we're not drawing anything either. We've drawn 3 spells. Actually, technically 2 spells, because we Tolaria Wested for the Explosives. Alright, we'll play a Stronghold and pass. I mean, we're taking 3 a turn, which is a clock. It's not the fastest clock, but it is a clock. I don't really know what our out here is, though. I guess draw another Explosives and have it resolve. We do have 3 Explosives, and this matchup is partially the reason why. A Braden Amulet, that's fine, I guess. Make more foods, that's fine. I guess we don't want to see them top deck a Saga. That would be pretty bad. Unless we top deck Explosives, in which case the Saga wouldn't be as bad. Explosives on 0, obviously, hitting the Asmor in addition to the food tokens. Ashiok. Yeah, that one's kind of a problem. And now we draw a Titan, but, I mean, playing it wouldn't do literally anything for us, so let's just play the Forest and pass. They would just use 2 foods and kill it, and we wouldn't get to search, and we would literally just trade our 6-mana Primeval Titan for 2 food tokens that our opponent got for free. Bobble. Okay. We really, really badly need to draw Engineer Explosives. And even then, our opponent's drawn enough cards that they might just have another Asmor ready to go. They just cookbook a card away, put in an Asmor, and then next turn have a second food ready to interact with us for whenever they need to. I guess we can play the Titan and haste it as well. They cast Daredevil, okay. Explosives. Right now we need Engineered Explosives. Explorer. Okay. There's no reason to leave blue floating since Tolaria West actually can't transmute here thanks to Ashiok, so... Yeah, I think there's nothing we can do here. We play Titan, they kill it with the foods, and then we just take lethal, so... Scoop phase. Disappointing. I don't know if there's a way we could have played around Metallic Rebuke. Well, that was a strange match. Hopefully you enjoyed it anyways, and like I said, this matchup, no matter what exactly our opponent's permutation of the deck is, almost always revolves around Asmor specifically. If they can Asmor away our Titan or Dryad, then they're in great shape, and if they can't, then their deck kind of just spins their wheels and makes a bunch of permanents, but Titan just kills them. So, yeah. Basically, the story is, 2 games out of 3, our opponent had an Asmor that we couldn't do anything about, then we lost. And unfortunately, some matchups just kind of devolve down to something very basic like that. Just like Blood Moon. If they have a Blood Moon that stays in play and goes unanswered, then they win. And if our opponent has an Asmor that stays in play and goes unanswered, then they win. And that's just how it is. So, anyways, I will see you guys for match 5, where we can finally get to a conclusion of this league. Let me know what you think about the deck.